author Mary Higgins Clark. Mary, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Now, as I have stated, you are a suspense author. Was suspense always that genre that you wanted to pursue with your writing career?
I've always been a fan of the genre, but actually my first novel was a biographical novel on George Washington called Aspire to the Heavens.
So then what was your first actual suspense novel then?
My first suspense novel is actually Where Are the Children? And when it was published in 1975, I've only written suspense novels since that.
And your novels are often based on real life crimes. True?
Yes, I often scan the morning newspapers to find crimes that will tie into stories that I'm working on. I usually cut out articles that jump out at me and actually keep them in a drawer together. I feel that basing my novel crimes off of real life crimes makes the books much more realistic and relatable to everyday normal people. Which makes them even scarier.
Besides real crimes, what are some of your other influences on your writing? Go bad. So besides real crimes, what are some of your other influences on your writing?
I actually experienced death at a very early age. And I feel as if that jolted me into the awareness of how fragile life really is. Actually, when I was just 10 years old, I came home from church one morning to find out that my father actually died while he was sleeping, so that's a bummer. My first husband, Warren Clark, is also dead. So I've definitely had to experience lots of death of my loved ones.
Other than your owning personal struggles, are you inspired by any other things when it comes to writing?
I actually consider my Irish heritage an influence on my writing. All of my female characters in my novels are actually Irish American Catholics like me.
On top of characters, I've noticed that your characters are mostly strong-willed, determined, independent women.
Yes, my characters are strong, brilliant women, and they always push through the disaster that strikes.
You really go into a lot of depth when you're creating your character, is true?
I do. I create very detailed biographies for each of my characters. I feel that in order to write about a character, you must really know all you can about them.
I have also noticed that your female protagonists are often very successful with their careers and such.
Oh yes, I usually appoint my characters very high-end careers such as doctors or lawyers, even fashion boutique owners.
Speaking of fashion, what are your views on the ways a person's wardrobe reflects their personality?
I feel that the way a person dresses fully reflects on who they are. Whether they put a lot of effort into what they're getting ready or they dress like a bum, you can truly tell aspects of a person's personality through what they wear.
And while My Pretty One Sleeps, you actually wrote about a boutique owner, Nev Kearney. Can you tell me a little bit about this book and Nev's character?
Nev is a perfect example of personality showing through wardrobe. As the reader can infer, Nev dresses herself up quite well. She takes pride in her sense of style, which is evident as she is the owner of a fashion boutique. Nev is also the daughter of former New York City Police Commissioner Miles Kearney. Her mother was actually murdered by what was thought to be a gang incident after her father was behind the arrest of the gang's leader. The gang now has a hitman that is stalking Nev. I don't want to ruin the book, so I'll stop there.
Okay, so let's talk a little more on your writing styles. Your books are suspenseful, but you make sure to keep them clean, don't you?
Oh yes, my books contain no violence, profanity, or sex.
You also sort of enjoy messing with the readers while they are reading, correct?
Yes, in most of my books, I like to have the reader believing that everyone is guilty. I also change the point of view quite often. I especially like to write from the protagonist's point of view during an attack because this makes the antagonist's actions more mysterious and unknown, which makes the book even scarier because they don't know what's going on exactly.
And by combining the aspects of suspense sense and realism, you create quite successful novels. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Mary, for taking the time for this interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it.